Hello everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and we're back going through some rare and expensive French jetons from the sort of Middle Ages. These ones are all from King Louis the 14th, who reigned for about 72 years. I want to say it was like 1643 to 1715, and bought a big collection of this stuff and finding really crazy designs. A lot of them, my favorite ones, have a lot of mint luster on them, but all of them show really excellent workmanship. And I'll talk a little bit more about jetons if you're not familiar with exactly what they are. But it seems like most of this collection was purchased early 2000s. We'll cut this bag open and we'll start going through flip by flip. Okay, so we'll just start from, I think this one was on top. It doesn't really matter which way we go. This one sort of feels small, but a little bit thicker, and I'll probably zoom in a little bit. I'm not expecting any of the silver jetons, but here we see, Ludovicus, so that's more the Latin, I believe. LVD is really Ludovicus 14th, the King of Navarre, which is a province in Spain and France. And this one, I really like the reverse design, and I think there's just so much artistry. You can see like some small weapons down there, and somebody that's presumably like peace with the olive branch probably, and some like a cornucopia, but are really, really cool. I don't have tons of commentary on these outside of that. I felt like me buying them for, a little bit less than 20 bucks each, I feel like they should be worth a lot more, just purely on their history. But this one says Concilio nil Nissi, and I think a lot of them, we get the fleur de lis. This one is probably young head of Ludovicus, and one of the other things that I like about these is you have like what I believe are little cuds or die cracks, and then you can also see how some of the letters seem to be repunched if you zoom in sort of on those eyes in the XIII. I think I missed one, but what does this one say? It's going to be another child's head. So yeah, again, 1643 to 1715, and as a regent, like essentially, was not, and often some of these will have the years on them as well. That's something I forgot to mention that I think is really cool, just to have this dated to a specific year, and then this presumably is Anna, the regent. DG FR at Navarre, like Regina, queen, as Louis the 14th, was basically king at like 5 or something, so they would have somebody else ruling in place. And this one's pretty worn, but it's just a really cool piece of history to have that. And it probably would have been, let's see if the flip says anything. It's no date, but can presume that this was very early on in Louis the 14th's reign, just given, again, that there is a regent. But this one says, right on it, 1688. I really like the copper jeton because I think often, and there's a perfect example. They really remind me of colonial coinage, and very pretty colonial coinage. Chambre Denier, 1688. Qua non praebit obes. So Ludovicus Magnus Rex. So even though it's pretty worn, just immense detail in the hair, nice relief, and again, this just so reminds me of the coins that were being struck in the colonies, similar time frame, but at fractions and fractions of the cost, and for something really historical. I think I'm gonna, I basically at this point have purchased a lot of jetons. I'm basically going to collect them. Like, that is beautiful. This is about 1690 of the old head. We have a ship with full sail, reminiscent very much so of the halfpenny of England and some of the Portuguese coins, just so many with lots of ships on them. And here, it's an attractive coin. I mean, I feel like the lighting that I'm using isn't doing full justice to this coin, and I really like how it looks. I'm not sure what the N means, but it's probably like a mint mark or something like that, or the engraver, but good find. Continuing along here, this one also is a Nil Nissi Concilio. I think that we had one of these earlier, but it could be a different is it a different metal? I was thinking, so right here, just if we notice, different sizes, but for a little bit more context on these jetons, they're basically accounting tokens, meaning that They would be used to count. This is a brass jeton of around 1645, also a smaller one. And that's probably going to be slightly lower value. Ooh, but it has the what look like 3 hearts on it, and it says Les Cœurs Fidèles. So maybe the loyal hearts or something like that. That's really cool. I can actually read that as opposed to a lot of the ones that are in more, like Latin, where I don't, or an older language. But cœur is going to mean hearts in French. So very fun. That and you see all these neat designs, but they were accounting tokens, would be used for like calculations and that sort of thing. Another 1657, it looks like, dated. Let's see if we can see where. Ooh, wow. And yeah, again, look at this detail and design. 1657, and it's got the crown, but it's also got a really nice bow and arrow all tied up with a ribbon. I just find that to have a lot of appeal in an interesting way. So, great pickup yet again, and we'll keep going. Let's see what this one is. This one feels like it has a little bit of weight to it. A brass jeton, which is going to say Aubert Bonai or something. And oh yeah, it does feel like it's got some solid weight, which is fun. Edge stuff going on. A little complicated, but they would often have like political or just like general societal, not messages, but like they were generally patriotic, just in the sense that they've got the king on them. And that similar portrait there was used very frequently, but all different things being depicted. That looks like some sort of a royal villa or castle or chateau, maybe. Hoc Pass Aubert Bonnet. I think that is more Latin, that I really don't know. These ones, I have to say, look like slightly more, I don't know if they've been worn or like cleaned a little bit more than some of the other coins that I've unboxed, but still very cool and very interesting. Circa 1652 brass jeton with the young head. And let's see. Yep, there we go. So you can see what I'm saying. Oh, nice little die crack in the X. I'm not sure if that's a planchet crack up here or just damage, but this is well worn, and you can see that these would have been on like a counting board and then basically like shuffled around and used. That's where the wear on these comes from. Whereas other jetons, or it could be like gaming tokens basically. Looks like another no date French jeton. Other ones may have been more used in situations like a presentation piece, or to commemorate a certain ruler or ruler of an area, whereas this one seems like it's more generic. Now the Nuremberg, which was in Germany, started to sort of dominate the jeton scene because they could produce very low cost ones, and so we could have a few of those here. But oh wow, that's gorgeous. That's the sort of thing that I get much more excited about, is like any of these ones where there's nice copper luster, and again the lighting's probably not optimal to see that, but I think that you can tell right there. Like there's very attractive looking. You got a wheat. I don't know exactly if that's like something that's being sacrificed. It looks like a little bit of a planchet clip. Parvo pro monere quanta. So I think that's going to be more Latin, but very very appealing, attractive look to this coin. Louis le Grand Roi de France, the big king of France. So great king of France, I think is probably more accurate, but that's the sort of one that's like definitely a keeper from my book, because if I bought everything if I kept everything I bought in some of these videos, I probably couldn't be buying too much more. Brass jeton, old head with the reverse of a tree, and I really like that reverse as well. Again, we know exactly what year, 1696, that this was produced. Looks like a large tree, utile damnum. I don't know what that means, but partie casuelle, 1696, really cool tree. Looks almost Australian, but it definitely was not, and was also not influenced by Australia. But then Ludovicus Magnus Rex. So anyways, 1696, really fun. And some of the other groups of coins I didn't really get a good chance to, when I bid on this, it was somewhat like without looking too closely, and buying this collection. So This, probably just being realistic, is not the best of the groups that I've done, but it's still got some really fun, appealing coins that I'm excited about. Labor altis offert. Nice animals, like you don't see animals too often, and this looks like a wide mix, and I'm not sure what's there. If the eagle is carrying away like a full hyena, or hyena's got a snake in its mouth. Let me zoom in, and you can tell me what you think. I don't know if it's sort of showing the cycle of life, but we've got, again, Ludovicus Magnus Rex. So, very cool. And how many more do we have here? It looks like we've got about 3 or so. So closing in, yeah, I think that there were supposed to be 17 total. So this one I'll do a surprise. I'm not going to see what it is. Ooh, that one looks pretty interesting. And it looks like it's going to be Louis XIV and Maria Theresa, who, I didn't know that Maria was alive at this point. I thought that was slightly older, but I believe, or it's just somebody totally different. But that says Delph Fran Lud XIV Filius. Maybe that's like the son. And then on this side, we've got Lud XIV et Martyr, Gigi et, the king of. So that's interesting. So I believe then, it's signifying that was Louis XIV and Maria Theresa. Interesting political thing. I don't know if Maria Theresa was queen along with Louis XIV, but smaller jeton, very worn but fun history on that one. And that would have been, obviously probably like early 1700s, probably towards the end of his reign. 1650 or so. Let's see what's on this one. Looks like not generic, but just one of the ones we're more accustomed to seeing here. And it's gonna, be pretty, I would say, normal, but at least it's got wear, it's got the use patterns that you would expect from these super old coins, and I think that that's really cool. Just to, or accounting tokens, like these things have been used, they're not just made for collectors like a lot of the metals are today. And really interesting design here. Let's see what this says. About 1700, Louis XIV, allegorical garden scene. So, well, we'll start on this side. It looks like this one's pretty worn. It doesn't have crazy copper luster, but yeah, this one looks similar to one we saw earlier, except this one might be, here we've got, see if it's the same thing. And it does look like the same design. I always like it a little bit better how it appears on the copper, just a little bit better relief, but 2 allegorical garden scene. I'll probably keep one of them, and my guess is that I would keep the one that I'm currently holding. I also really like how some of the letters look, repunched or something along those lines. And that's going to bring us to the conclusion of today. I actually went back and bought more from this source because it's a fun gamble. I think that I'm getting pretty good value, sort of as long as I can stay a little bit under $20 a jeton. I think that generally is going to lead to good performance because I'm comfortable. I think people can recognize the history and the value in them, and that's been the experience so far. So I'll see you on some similar videos in the future. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Treasure Town, and get in touch with me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, check out my website, treasuretowncoins.com, for news and updates related to the channel and collectibles in general. Lastly, there's a link tree in the description with links to all of my other sites, as well as some affiliate links that can support the channel. But with that being said, have a great day, and I'll hope to see you on some of my videos in the future.